Welcome back, guys, to round 3 of Wednesday Night Standard Showdown. Meadows is going to be here in just 1 second. He had to make a trip to the bathroom. And so for our feature match for you this round, we got John Douglas on Temur Energy versus Richard Staley on Esper Approach. So this is a matchup that if you're going to play Standard in upcoming maybe GP Atlanta this weekend, or if you're going to the Star City Games Invitational, that you are going to see probably if you're playing one of these two decks. And it's one you're going to want to be ready for, so that's why we wanted to put this on for you. Esper Approach is a little less popular than Blue-White Approach. You'll see in most tournaments. He's probably playing some number of Scarab Gods, maybe some Fatal Pushes, some other stuff like that. And so John, as far as I know, is on just your typical Temur Energy list. I don't think there's anything too spicy about it. And this is a matchup that is probably, in my opinion, a little favored towards Approach, but not by much.
Hello, I'm back. Especially game ones.
Yeah, game one, they're definitely favored. Other than that, in games 2 and 3, I definitely think that the Temur deck, in my opinion, gets the mirror. I think it's the edge in the mirror in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't think this is a mirror by far.
It's not a mirror match at all. But John gets to board in all of these counter spells like Negates, Spell Pierces, Supreme Wills. I don't know the exact makeup of his sideboard, but I would be very surprised if he didn't have some number of those blue cards. And he just gets to have this early pressure that's going to be really hard for Richard to interact with. So John's going to be on the play, and Richard is on a mulligan to 6.
I believe in Richard.
Yeah, I definitely think he's favored game 1. It might get a little awkward because of his mana if he's on Esper. So we'll see. I don't know if John knows what he's on. He could be thinking he's against blue-black control right now. Who knows?
Who knows?
It also depends on how many removal spells John ends up drawing. I saw a copy of Harness Lightning in his hand.
That does nothing here.
Those are dead cards. Harness Lightning is just going to pump a Long Tusk Cub or Bristling Hydra. That's a very important card that he just drew off the Rogue Refiner and Chandra Torch of Defiance.
Yeah, Planeswalkers are pretty good against these control decks.
Yeah, I would have liked to see John play that Rogue Refiner pre-combat and then pump the Long Tusk Cub. I think it's very important in this matchup from the Temur side to get your damage in where you can.
I think it was more of the fact that John just wanted to see attack with creature than to see if Richard was going to Fatal Push it or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Fatal Push is going to get you either way. It's not like you can really play around Fatal Push like that. So he would have 2 more, or he'd have like 4 less energy, which is relevant with that Whirler Virtuoso in hand, but it's still very important. It doesn't matter how much energy you have when he just casts Fumigate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just... Yeah, I think it was just mainly due to the fact that he wanted the Long Tusk Cub to stay as long as he could and get the additional energy. Because if he plays Rogue Refiner, he's going to probably, if he has Fatal Push, Richard would probably Fatal Push the Long Tusk Cub then.
Richard's going to Fatal Push the Long Tusk Cub anyway.
True.
I would be very surprised to even see Richard let that connect at all, but obviously he didn't have it, and John didn't have his 4th land drop last turn.
But he has it now.
Richard's at 6, and this is a very crucial point. So Richard's going to Glimmer, and he's going to want to make sure he has land and Fumigate, which I think he just scryed into.
Sounds good.
And you see John not playing anything into the board mana, because he knows Fumigate is coming if Richard's going to stay in this game. However, he did draw Approach. However, I would like playing the Chandra here. If that gets counter, now he might want to like resolve Chandra now, which I understand. But
I think he will.
He definitely will. He'll take this opportunity to resolve Chandra.
He's going to lose energy.
If he had played Chandra into that open mana, Richard has a decision. He can either counter or he can Glimmer. Chandra is something that he's probably going to have to counter. So if he counters it, then he can't Glimmer, and then maybe he doesn't have the Fumigate. Or if he doesn't have the Fumigate, or if he still does have 5th land into Fumigate, that's still
fine.
That's still fine. John then gets to reload the board. Richard, in 2 turns, never had the opportunity to cast Glimmer, which is something that when you have the opportunity to cast Glimmer as a control player, you need to take it, because at this point, the Temur Energy deck is not going to let up on you. Richard's at 8. John has an active Chandra and a Servant. He has enough mana that he can basically play whatever he wants. We see a Cycle Sensor. I think Richard's digging for Cast Out. And I don't think he found it. So he's probably just going to pass the turn. I believe he has... I think he has 1 copy of Approach to the Second Sun in hand. I think the other might be a Plains that has similar art. And you'll probably see a Glimmer here on the end step. Depending on Richard's hand, he might not... Unless he's digging for something in particular, he might not actually want to cast Glimmer here. Now, if he's trying to find the 7th land, but we know he's not because he has that Plains in hand, if he doesn't have a good way to dig to that approach after he casts it, then he might want to save Glimmer.
I can see that.
You saw him cycle a Sensor there. I think he was digging for Cast Out. If he wasn't, then I probably would have liked saving that there too, because main deck Temur does not have a way to interact with Approach. If you cast Approach for first time, you gain 7 life, that buys you some time. If you cast it again, then...
You win.
Yeah, they just win. John, he may be running like 1 main deck Supreme Will.
I see it right there.
Is it in his hand?
Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's big. I actually didn't even notice that.
So, I think what John has to do here is probably uptick Sandra, get 2 red to play that Bloodstone Hydra in his hand, maybe?
I don't think you want to do that. I think he's trying to leave the Hydra as a backup to Fumigate. Because if Richard has a Fumigate, he's going to Fumigate this board.
Or if he sees finds a second copy approach, he can just win in 2 turns.
And Richard probably thinks that, but not if John has that Supreme Will in hand.
Wait, no, Richard has a Supreme Will, not John.
Oh, you said Richard, yeah.
Yeah, not John.
Oh, okay. I thought you said John has Supreme Will in hand. Yeah, no, Richard has Supreme Will, that's fine. And that's, okay, that makes sense why he was, like, cycling and casting. No, it's John that I thought you said had Supreme Will in hand.
Oh, I can't math, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
Approach to the Second Sun is lethal. It just wins the game.
So John basically has 1 card in hand right now. It's 2 Harness Lightnings and 1 Hydra. So John can 4 to 6.
Yeah,
put him
John
down to 5.
This turn can put Richard to 3. Plus for the card, I think he wanted to plus Chandra pre-combat in case he found Glorybringer.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so this is John saying, okay, can you deal with the Chandra? If not, you lose. And I didn't see a way to deal with Chandra in his hand. I see Scarab God, Glimmer, Settle, and
I mean, Settle doesn't do it because he just
no.
Yeah, because he just alt Chandra then casts Harnlight, just target one of his dudes.
So I think what we're gonna see here is Richard play Glimmer, because I think he realizes that, like, but if he
disallow, but that doesn't do anything.
It really doesn't. He's gonna take both, but even if he casts disallow targeting the Chandra emblem, he's dead to the swing. So John has done something really important in this matchup, and that's take game 1. Game 1 is the hardest one for the Temur Energy deck to win.
Yeah, because if you choose disallow for turn, it would be a lot better for him. He'd be able to disallow the trigger than Stellar Wreckage.
Yeah, but because he had to spend 4 mana on Glimmer, then yeah.
They'll just talk about how they wish John talked about if Richard had a second approach.
Yeah, and
he did it.
Richard would have won. So yeah, we're gonna be going to game 2 here.
And so also we just like to think Thank you for taking your time out of today for tuning into this standard showdown here at GameSwap Mason, Ohio for our stream. If you like our content, yeah, that word. I was about to say context, but yeah, if you like our content and wish to make it better, you can always like join our Patreon page and start donating monthly like that. You can also do one-time donations.
Yeah, so the Patreon page is patreon.com/topdeckproductions. And every dollar that is donated via the Patreon goes to improve the quality of our stream. And then you can also directly subscribe to us here on Twitch. And then if you have Amazon Prime membership, then you can actually use your free monthly Twitch Prime subscription. And it doesn't cost you anything, but we still get the benefits.
Totally.
So,
but also, if you do have Amazon Prime, you have to renew your subscription every month manually.
Yes, yeah, it is a manual.
It's not
thing.
automatic, just because like you may not like us anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? So going into game 2 here, we'll see what Richard has in the matchup. I don't know exactly what his Esper approach sideboard looks like.
Maybe like French or Gear Hulks and like
yeah, if he has
Regal Carousel.
He probably wants a way to win that does not get negated. That's going to be the biggest thing he's looking for. So maybe additional copies of Scarab God, maybe.
Yeah.
Possible Torrential Gear Hulks.
Regal Carousel. How do you pronounce that?
Regal Caracal.
Yeah.
That one's fine. The bodies for Regal Caracal don't match up well against the creatures that John's gonna play.
Alright, so one card I have in hand right here is the Rova Horror.
Okay.
Alright, do you know how good this card was in Modern Masters 3 draft?
I do. I first picked it multiple times. Okay,
Same.
we're gonna get back on topic now.
Hey, man.
And I'm taking this card away from you.
Why? It's
so,
not foily.
Besides... anyway, back to Regal Caracal. I don't think that Richard, if he has it, is going to bring it in because it's only going to win you games when
you're already winning.
You're already going to win.
Right.
It's not the 3/3 and the 2/2s that it makes aren't going to be able to attack through anything like a Bristling Hydra, a Long Tusk Cub, and Richard really doesn't have the spot removal to push them through.
Totally.
So I expect just some creatures. Maybe if he like has another Fumigate or another settle on the board, he might bring that in. He also, what I did when I played Approach against these Temur decks, I actually brought in Negate against Temur
to counter their Negate?
to fight their Negates.
So you wait till you have 9 mana for Approach the Second Sun?
Or if you can help it, you can wait till you have 6 mana for Settle the Wreckage, 7 mana for Fumigates.
Alright.
A lot of the times, Temur won't leave up double Counterspell. They'll leave up maybe like 1 Supremo, they'll leave up 1 Negate, and also play a threat. So that's a way you can win back the initiative and try to take the game that way. How John is probably going to play these games is he's going to try to function like a Delver deck. He's going to play probably like a turn 2 Long Tusk Cub into a turn 3 Rogue Refiner or Whirler Virtuoso, and he's just going to try to hold up Negate Supreme Will. And the first time that Richard goes to cast Settle the Wreckage, cast Fumigate, he's going to counter it.
Yeah, like, oh, I see a Hardest Lightning here by John.
And John's saying that's weird to me. So he is probably trying to hedge against something like Torrential Gear Hulk.
I can see that.
Which I really don't think you need to do. When you leave Harness Lightning in against the Approach deck, it's not going to work out the way you want it to. Sure, they get to play Gear Hulk and they get to cast their Harness Lightning or whatever, but Gear Hulk isn't their only way to win.
Was that an OG Essence Scatter?
Yeah, that's a old art Essence Scatter.
M12?
I don't know. I don't know what set that is.
I'm sure someone in chat will correct me.
So we're going to see your tune from John, and this is exactly how Richard wants these first 2 turns to progress. And he's going to Supreme Will
That's aggressive.
With Aether. That's aggressive, and
I like it.
I don't.
I like these aggressive counterspells at times.
not for attunes like that. If Richard had evidence that John was mana screwed, then I would like that. But he has no evidence of that whatsoever. I don't think that's a good use of Supreme Will here. I think he would much rather counter this Rogue Refiner.
And look, John was... I mean, it paid out great for Richard here.
Yeah, but you don't know that. Like,
true. I mean, it was ballsy. I'll admit that. It was
yeah,
ballsy.
I mean, I don't know. John also brought in his copy, at least one copy of Life Crafter's Bestiary, which is something I really do like when you're trying to beat these Fumigate decks.
Like, it just gives you incremental card selection, which is huge because you want... Typically, you want more cards that matter in the matchup than less cards that don't matter.
Well, it also just draws you cards. He also brought in his copy of Nissa, Steward of Elements, which, yeah, I think he just right now...
I think you counter this if you're Richard.
Oh, yes. If you have a counterspell for this, you counter it.
Which he does, which we knew about. And he's
which I think John was trying to bait the counterspell there. I think he really wants this Nissa to resolve.
Oh, yeah, Nissa's huge against these control decks because, like, you can just uptick, scry, get more cards.
Well, it's not really card. Like, it lets you scry, which...
Then you get to play dude for free.
Yeah, this is actually one of the matchups where I prefer Nissa Vital Force over Nissa Steward of Elements. It provides a really fast clock. You get a 5/5 haste every turn. And then if they cast Fumigate, then you still have a 5/5. Nissa Steward of Elements doesn't present as much of a threat until you hit her ultimate. In which case you get 10 flying haste damage.
Wee.
And see, this is one of the reasons I didn't like the Supreme Will on the Tomb of Aether. John's gonna draw out of his mana screw, probably.
Hopefully.
Like if he's not, you're probably gonna win the game anyway. But if he doesn't, then if he does, he just has all these threats. Another Bestiary could be countered by Supreme Will. The Glory Bringer he might play could be Supreme Willed.
All right.
And
Richard, his draws aren't lined up correct.
So yeah, well, I mean, Richard gets to resolve approach here.
All right.
Go to 24.
Now, John doesn't have to do anything really, or does he? I don't know.
So what John needs to do, what John's going to do here, is he is probably not going to put the shields down until he wins, or until he doesn't have a counterspell. Because John has a negate in hand.
All right.
So what I expect him to see him do here, and I believe he forgot to scry.
No, he did.
Did he scry?
Yeah, yeah, he kept the land on top, so now he can go World Verse and hold up negate still.
I think here you play Nissa.
I don't know yet. So I think how much he really cares about being dead to a top deck approach or the second approach in hand. And John's just banking on the fact thinks Richard has second approach in hand when he actually doesn't.
Well, no, as the energy player here, if you tap out, you could just die, and that is one of the power of this approach deck.
Yeah,
John's not going to tap out, so
yeah,
either play is fine. I wouldn't say anyone's wrong for playing Whirler Virtuoso over Nissa. I think I personally would have played Nissa. It's a way to dig towards more counterspells, because once you don't have negate up and they cast approach, you lose.
Oh yeah.
So I would just try to be looking for ways to find my counterspells, make sure I don't die.
I mean, he does have the beast callers.
Yeah, he has the bestiary, which is good.
Yeah, so he might just be trying to dig for lane number 6. So then he's going to swing his crew, see if John casts a settle.
Yeah, and honestly, if he casts settle, I think that's something John will be. I think he'll be not happy, but he's not sad. Quad rampant growth here, there's no way he counters this. This is fine for him. He has the.
Let's see how many basics John has.
My guess is he probably has a mountain and 3 forests to get. Most lists have 3 forests, 2 mountains, 1 island. So he might have more copies of forest, but I do know he's playing 4 copies of Rootbound Crag.
Yeah,
so I think he's only playing 3 forests.
So John is probably just going to play another threat he can hold up in the gate with.
Yeah.
Or he might just play Nissa, who knows.
I think what he's going to do is he's either going to play Nissa or he's going to play this
Servant,
and then draw a card.
I like that play.
Yeah, I think I like playing Servant here.
Like, John's just trying to be patient in this matchup.
Well, he can.
Yeah, no.
Like, he has negate. Like, he's not at risk of dying next turn.
I know. And
once he negates an approach, that's when you're going to see John be like, okay, I need to kill you.
And Richard's not having the best draws here.
Yeah, he's been drawing a lot of lands. I think, like, and at this point, if he had kept Supreme Will, he would have cast approach already. Or maybe this Bestiary wouldn't be in play.
Who knows?
So I think maybe this game really did come down to
that Supreme Will.
Richard Supreme Willing that attune.
Who knows? I mean, it would be a different set of cards John would have seen because the shuffle.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no way to keep that into account, but still, it's like, I think that was that was very aggressive and very greedy by Richard.
Oh, most definitely.
And he's getting punished here for it. Also, I believe at the time he knew he had Settle in hand. You can't settle someone that you're trying to mana screw. It doesn't work.
It doesn't.
So we'll see what John... He played Nissa, resolved in his Nissa.
Oh, yeah, you could play Nissa for 3. I kept thinking she was a 4-drop.
Yeah, no, Nissa could be 3-mana. Here's Chandra, so we just have all the Planeswalkers here.
Yep.
And see, he's leaving up negate.
And
Ooh. That is something John really did not want to see.
So if Richard has back-to-back approaches here...
Yep, he'll win the game.
Is that a negate?
Search for Escanto.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's a really good card in this matchup.
I think that deserves a negate.
No. It does not.
Really?
Because, 2, 3, 4. I believe...
It's going to flip.
I messed up here and I wasn't counting, but I believe Richard's next card is Approach.
I don't think it is.
Or maybe it's either his next card or the card after that. If I'm pretty sure. So yeah, John really can't plus
Chandra?
Or yeah, John has to. He can't counter this search because he could just die to Approach. He could die to Supreme Will into Approach. He could die to Opt into Approach.
Yeah.
And one thing I just want to point out that I believe John didn't do, but I would have liked to see him do. I would have preferred he plussed the Chandra before he plus Nissa. That way, if you plus Nissa and see, like, 2 copies of Negate, or, like, a Negate in the land,
all right,
you can, like, if you plus Nissa first, and see Negate land, you are basically in a position where you have to put Negate and then the land on top of the Negate so that you can draw the Negate and not die. If you plus Chandra first, and let's say you find a spell, then you still get the chance to play that. Then you can plus your Nissa. Because if you just like see Negate and land and really don't want that land, and you want to plus your Chandra and actually get a card off of it like you did with the Rogue Refiner,
all right,
then you can't do that if there's a Negate involved. We saw last turn when he plus Chandra, saw Negate, he much rather would have had that Negate in hand than the 2 damage to Richard's face.
Agreed.
And so Richard here has to win this turn
or not die
or resolve like a Fumigate. And I don't think he has the way to. He's gonna activate the search and he's gonna take Approach and he's gonna cast Approach and John's gonna negate. And I think it's pretty obvious over the course of the game that John has had Negate. You've seen he's never tapped out since he cast the first Approach. He has always made sure he left up a blue mana.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh.
Yeah. He has enough lands.
If
he's gonna reveal Approach, he's gonna say, "I'm gonna cast Approach," and
wait, if he has Spell Pierce right here,
then he's going deep. I haven't seen a Spell Pierce in his hand. I haven't seen Spell Pierce in any of these lists recently. So...
Oh, he has a negate.
He has a negate. Does he have enough mana?
No.
He does not. He
has
is
8.
1 land away. So... He's going to go for it. He's showing the gate.
Exactly. Spirit Guide here, Richard.
And he's just dead. And that is going to be round 3 here.
Yep. Round 4 should be coming up soonish. 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think most of our rounds haven't been going that far at a time. We had the unfortunate
Tokens mirror.
Yeah, we had the tokens mirror last round.
And that's pretty grindy.
Yeah, I think they might have drawn. I'm not sure.
No, I think someone actually lost.
Did someone actually lose that?
Yeah, because we saw the parents and there was no
I wasn't looking at that, but
there's no one with a 4 or a 1.
Okay. Well, we will see you guys for round 4 in a little bit.
All right. See you.